So now we are going to discuss about administrative reforms. Okay, so administrative reforms is the public administration system in India has a long history. So in ancient times, the civil servant was servant of the king. Kautilya Arthashastra described the civil service of those days and laid out the various norms. And in medieval period, the civil servant become the servants, and the land revenue system was well established during the medieval period. Okay. Now, the East India Company had civil service to carry out their commercial functions, and in British rule, the civil servant were servant to the crown, but gradually they started becoming public servants. Okay, so civil service primarily with the objective of strengthening the British administration in India, but role of civil service was to further the British interest, and the role was largely regulatory. Later on, development role also changed. So India achieved independence. It inherited a colonial legacy in the administration, which was suited to needs of the revenue collection and maintenance of law and order. And during the year following independence, the Indian government was mostly preoccupied with the problem of administrative integration of princely state and rehabilitation of refugees and the displaced. So, with the India becoming republic, the objective for the development of the country was spelled out. Focus shifted to the socio-economic development, and attention was directed to pupil-oriented administration. Administration had to be responsive to the development needs of the people, and thus there was a need to reform the administration to suit the needs of the independent India. In fact, administrative reform have been necessitated because of changing environment. The role of the government had to change with their other words, the administration must respond to change, or else disequilibrium would set in, resulting the imbalance, dysfunctionality, and maladministration and goal displacement. So, administrative reform had been variously defined. There have been a name given such as administrative change, administrative transformation, and administrative improvement, and administrative restructuration, and administrative re-engineering, renewal, and realignment. The idea and the administration is a need of realignment and readjustment, and it must evolved, planned, systematic, and well-directed process. So it defined the artificial inducement of administrative transformation also. So first of all, FW rigs, the problems and dynamic balancing. Since public administration function within a political context, its basic character, content, and style of functioning is greatly influenced by the political environment. So dynamic and process is in not merely setting national goals and priorities or deciding between competing the values and allocating the resources, but also devising the most efficient instrument for transacting the policies into the successful program realities. Okay, so we can say communication and technology, ICT, and state purvey's role in managing national assets and resources, controlling the entire economy, and regulation and development, ensuring just and equitable economic order, correcting age old social imbalance, focusing institution making, and ushering in the egalitarian society. New task of administration is the fundamental and foundational improvement of administration capability. So, what is Government of India undertook various measures for bringing in reforms in administration? First of all, efficiency and economy. One of the main objective of administration reform is to about efficiency and economy in governments. It is believed that government in last decade has failed to deliver with the efficiency and economy. So size and structure of the government. The size and structure of the government become a major impediment in achieving economy and efficiency. The government increased the number of their ministry, department, and officers since independence. So it is the responsibility or other attempt to eliminate the redundancy, and the kind of expansion has stage implementing capacity and coordinating the problems. Okay, capacity building and human resource development also is there. So the gap between the training facility and building a motive capable civil servant is merit based and non-discriminatory recruitment, Political patronage should not be there. Transparent rule and procedure, competition. Okay, civil servant accountability, like good governance, accountability, transparency is the buzzwords. And today it is not only delivered that in important, but civil servant delivering the transparency and openness. Okay, so what is the administrative reforms pre-independent? The historical foundation of the bureaucratic arm of the modern state are expectedly quite the highest echelon of the administration is called the Mahamata system. Okay, so the civilian bureaucracy in British India, East India Company was there, and Battle of Plassey was there. Then Battle of Buxar. Then Charter Act was passed continuously, and after that, according to the Bernard Cohen estimated, like 50 to 60 extended families contributed the vast majority of civil servants who governed the India. In course of the expansion of empire, Fort William College in Calcutta was established, and in all the three presidency, Bengal, Bombay, Madras were to be trained for 3 years. Okay, and then East India Indian College was established first in Hartford in 1805, subsequently shifted to Haileybury College. uh, okay, it's a Hartford College to Haileybury College, 2 year training and test, and was mandatory for appointments. And under the Charter Act, a limited competitive examination was introduced. So, following 1857 Indian rebellion and the takeover of Government of India from the company to the British Crown, Civil Service Commission United Kingdom began recruitment of covenanted services and non-covenanted services, and subordinate services also there. In 1853, Indians were allowed to compete for covenanted civil service, but a great barrier practically kept them. Okay, then English educated Indian middle class statutory civil service introduced 1817. An Indian could be nominated to be few position hitherto reserved only for the Europeans. So since 1813, the process of Indianization of services had already started. Okay, so this was the whole procedure of the how Indian people was now allowed in the British civil services, or we can say in India they are now allowed to the civil services. Okay, so now 1892 in the major civil service reforms was coordinated civil services were renamed the Indian Civil Services. The uncoordinated civil services was made the provincial civil services, and the statutory civil services was abolished. And the practical difficulty for the Indian entering into the ICS remained as the open examinations. Okay, and now, after the provision of recruitment of examination to the ICS to held in India as well as Government of India Act, now the Indian officers in ICS exceeded the Europeans also. After First World War, under Government of India Act, significantly civil service reform, including the Indianization of services, ensured principle of limited responsible government came to introduced provincial level. Under this scheme, diarchy, a few subjects were transferred to the elected Indian ministry, which retaining more important and sensitive subject. All India service like ICS and IP control the top echelon of the provincial administration, and Indian Forest Service, Indian Agriculture Service, Indian Service of Engineering, Indian Veterinary Service. So this was now came in Indian Medical Service. Beside there were several services under Government General of India, Provincial Service under Government General of Provinces was come. So the Government of India Act, which intended to federalize the system with provincial autonomy and to extend the diarchy to the central government, now provided for the appointment to the All India Service by the Government General and provincial civil service by the respective governor. The power to regulate condition of service of officer of these services were also similarly divided: governor general and governor. So appropriate legislation could also be made by the central and provincial legislature, but within the framework of outline the Robert report jointly select committee. Now we are discussing about the National leadership was expectedly ambivalent towards it. The nationalist movement had seen the political freedom fighters range against the colonial executive, and the antipathy was mutual and deep. The Constituent Assembly debate reflect this tension well. So Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel strongly argued for the retention, adaptation, and expansion of the service by the retreating British colonial state in India. Okay, the final text now administrative reforms. So yeah, there's the N. Gopala Swami Iyengar report. Okay, so first is N. Gopala Swami Iyengar report was there. It's a machinery of the government of the machinery of the central government, which was presented its reports reorganization of machinery of the central government. Now A.D. Gorwala. It's the first was the Iyengar report. Second is the A.D. Gorwala report. So Gorwala report was the retired ICS officer was appointed for the planning commission, and he was making the government more efficient, clean, impartial. Okay, that was his report was Ministry of Jawaharlal Nehru policy was planned economic development. So he given its report for the mixed economy. Okay, now next was the Paul Appleby report. Paul Appleby report. So Paul Appleby is the government of India invited the American expert Mr. Paul Appleby to suggest reforms. हाँ मम्मा in Indian administration. Appleby submitted two reports. His first report, namely Public Administration in India, and report of survey. So deal with the administration, reorganization, and the practice. Okay, so government, industrial, and commercial enterprises deal with matters pertaining to the Government of India accepted two of these recommendations by the Paul Appleby. The first was the management by the organization and methods was in 1954 in cabinet secretary for the improving the speed and quality of the government, and its focus was to improving the paperwork management and methods, and procedure was prepared for all ministry. Now committee on plan and projects. So it was the Committee on Plan and Projects for the Economy and Efficiency and Implementation of the Plans and Projects of the Government. Next is Committee on Prevention of the Corruption. So the Committee on Prevention of the Corruption was set up Lal Bahadur Shastri under chairmanship of K. Santhanam to study the cause of corruptions and checking the corruption and to suggest the measure of the improvement. Next is the first ARC report. ARC first report. ARC first report is the chairmanship of Hanumanthaya. ARC first set up the 13 working groups and center as well as in the state. It gave the 20 reports for the machinery of the government of India and its procedure, personal administration, redressal of citizen grievance, center state relations, state administration, finance, planning, economy, audit, delegation, finance, administration, railway, as DS Kothari Committee. Kothari Committee and its recruitment and selection method is given by the UPSC. Okay, and its recommendation for the introducing preliminary examinations. Now, National Police Commission was set up 1997 for controlling the crimes and maintenance of the public order, and method of magistral supervision, system of investigation and prosecution, maintenance of crime. Economic Reform Commission. It is LK Jha, the main function assigned to the commission related to the submitted a number of reports in the government of India. Rationalization and the modernization of economic administration. Sarkaria Commission reports is there to regards to power, function and responsibility of the make recommendation and change and measure. Satish Chandra Committee is the civil service examination report suggest and recommendation of minor change in Kothari model. Now appearing the examinations and recommendation for essay paper which was introduced. Conference of Chief Secretary. This was to having an accountable, open and citizen friendly government. Chief Ministry Conference. This is action plans to making the government accountable, citizen friendly, more transparent, and right to information, and improving the performance and integrity of the government. Surendranath Banerjee Committee. Surendranath Banerjee Committee was for the DOPT, Department of Personnel and Training, constituted a group in December under the chairmanship of the Surendranath Banerjee to review the make recommendation with regard to the present system of performance appraisal, promotion, and lateral movement respect of all Indian services. So committee insists on greater care and honesties and a significant age in civil servant, so asked to seek voluntary retirement, okay, and considerable amount of deadwood account which needs to be removed such recommendation. Now committee on civil service reforms. So this was the committee consisting 15 member committee. This committee was 123 pages report was given there, and citizen friendly, transparent, accountable, and ethical, and e-governance friendly, promoting the intellectual growth and environment, pressure should be reduced, ICT, and rules, everything like. Now second ARC reform commission was there. It was the Ministry of Personnel, chairmanship of Virappa Moili. The objective was to prepare a detailed blueprint for revamping the public administration system. Committee submitted 15 reports: right to information, unlocking human capital, crisis management, ethics on governance, public order, local governance, capacity building, conflict resolution, combating terrorism, social capital, refurbishing the personal administration, promoting the e-governance, citizen-centric administration, organization structure, government of India, and financial management. So reform in financial management was like for the government efforts, prioritizing the government efforts, mobilizing the resources, resource allocation, formulation the detailed plan, settling the informations, de- decision making, accounting is creating the robust internal and external accounting, cost benefit analysis, fiscal management, economic management, financial management. Okay, and a number of challenges in financial management like controlling budgeting, making the better policy, maintenance, the operation, budget formulation, execution, and financial performance. So 14 report on strengthening the financial management. The assumption made while formulating the estimate must be realistic, so it is the estimates and actual must be ascertained and efforts made to minimize them, and the method of the formulating the annual budget and organization into a predetermined amount leads to unrealistic budget estimates. Okay, so this is there is the making the internal capacity more strong, and how much expenditure is there and what is the financial prudence that should be maintained. Project announcements, emphasis on meeting budgeting, financial targets, outputs, and outcomes. Irrational plans should not be there, so there should be rational planning. Flow of funds in the centrally sponsored schemes should be accurate. Accrual system of accounting, as we discussed before. So, accrual system of accounting, we should be like there. Internal auditing should be there. Internal auditing, like a chief internal auditor should be established a select ministry department to carry out the function related to internal auditing, and should be directly responsible to the secretary of the department. Initial stage personnel may introduce norms for recruitment utilizing the private sectors, capacity buildings, modalities, ensuring the non-duplication of the policies. Standards for internal audit should be like office of cake should be there, accounting function should be completely separate from internal audit, and effectiveness should be there. Audit committee should be constituted ministry and department, and the chairperson should be there and two members should be there. Okay, the role of financial advisor and chief financial officer ministry were responsible accountable to the secretary of ministry department should be recognized. Accountability should be there, and sufficient training and experience in modern financial management system should be post financial advisors. So accountability of the parliament is what? Like to strengthen the parliament oversight mechanism, like public account committee, COPU may decide the beginning of years and examine by which and which by their subcommittees they may consider assigning other paras to respective departments. So PAC and COPU may authorize keeping alive for more than 1 year, and there's a chairman also, and the examination the all paras of the what assigned them, and there is a department audit committees also. So what is the work of these committees, and what is the like difference between the audit and the government agencies? So there is a need for better understanding and synergy between the audit and auditees. So there should be a balanced reporting by the audit, and audit report should not focus on criticism alone but contain a fair assessment and evaluation, which would mean that good performance is also acknowledged. There's need for increase the interaction as well as the coordination between the executive and audit, including the senior level, and meaningful meeting where important issues could be discussed and conclusion reached on what needs to be done. So there should be also be a quarterly communication from the accountant general to administrative secretary informing them about the significant points and areas of improvement. So external audit need to be more timely in inspecting the reporting so that their report can be used for timely correction action. All audit for the year under review should be completed by 30 September. So what is the audit reports may be finalized, and IT should be used in increasingly effective data collection and analysis. Okay, government agency also need to more prompt in responding to audit observation and ensuring that remedial and correction action. And now reforms in human resource development. UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon signifying the importance of human resource like management, and we need like maximize the tremendous potential of the staff that truly mobile, multifunctional and accountable, with more emphasis on career development and training. So it has been recognized and widely accepted human resource one of the most important asset like organization and institution. Therefore it is very important that the resources are well trained to build a motivated capable civil service. Non-discrimination recruitment, absence of political patronage, transparent rule and procedure, open competition and selection by the independent agency, the opportunity for promoting the recognition and reward for performance, intersectoral mobility, placement in right job, and the scope for skill and upgradation, the self improvement important tool and motivating the individual. So 10th report in the refurbishing the personal administration for scaling new heights in the ARC. This report is for the government, and in the government of India should establish National Institute of Public Administration bachelor degree course in public administration and government management. So the this report was the age for the civil servant should be 21 to 28. The number of permissible attempt for the civil servant should be 6 respectively for the general candidates, and for SC, ST and physically challenged candidate. The present cutoff date for determining the eligibility turn August year. Like now structure of the examination, structure of civil service examination, the preliminary mains examination, then there will be interview conduct. Okay, so based on the result of preliminary examination, candidates eligible for the mains examination, then they will appear for the interview for the personality test and the main examination almost simultaneously, and the mains examination would be conducted within the 2 months. Now, the preliminary examination should consist of objective types test having one or two paper on general study, including the Constitution of India and Indian legal system, Indian economy, polity, history, culture. Now, main examination will be the compulsory subject may include Constitution of India, Indian legal system, economy, polity, history, culture. Then DOPT is the consultation with UPSC to finalize the syllabus of compulsory subject, then preliminary, mains, and for the recruitment cycle. So, what is a promotion now? Promotion is the introduction of officers in state civil service into the IAS, should be done by the UPSC on basis of common examination. UPSC should conduct such examination annually for office from the state. Civil service have completed 8 to 10 years as a grade A of post. Now, eligibility criteria should also include norms such as upper age limit for 40 years. On the basis of this examination, the UPSC should provide the state government with the eligibility list. State government should fill up their quota promotion IAS on the basis of eligibility list. Maximum 2 attempts should be allowed to eligible candidates. To ensure that the existing officers, state civil service are not denied adequate opportunities, the examination in next 2 years may be conducted for all such eligibility officers. Okay, so the mechanisms above should also be applied in case of induction into other all India service and state level. So there is a promotion into group A central service should, in addition to the consideration of ACR, an examination on the basis of criteria is maintained above. Now examination ratio. Now promotion of the other of through the department promotion committees up to the level of selection grade may be delegated to concerned department. So UPSC should supervise the functioning through periodic review and audit. In the case of disciplinary proceeding, a consultation with UPSC should be mandatory only in case of involved likely dismissal or removal of the government servant. So cadre allocation will be there. So at least one vacancy each year in each cadre. So Manipur, Meghalaya, Mizoram may be allotted to the successful candidate domiciled there been provided, like this may be done even if there is no insider vacancy. In case of there more than one eligible candidate, then the allotment may be done in order to SC, ST, OBC and general candidate. Once the home state quota of the above mentioned northeastern state is filled up, further allocation may be done in the cadre allocation policy and after making adjustment necessitated by the change recommended above. Now, what is accountability? Accountability is the system of two intensive review, like one is completion of 14 year of service and another is 20 year of service, should be established for all government servant. So after the 14 year would be primarily serve the purpose of intimating to the advancement of the government and to assess the fitness of officers for the further continuation of the government, and the detailed modalities and assessment system will be there. The service of public servant would are found to unfit, then review again in 20 years and they should be discontinued if they are not fit. And besides the for new appointment, it should be expressly provided that the period of employment shall be 20 years. Further continuance in the government service should depend upon outcome of the intensive performance review. Okay, so now what is the relation between the political execution and civil servant? See, like civil servant should be well defined, procedure should be there, and recruitment to all government job, wide publicly and open competition for the recruitment of all posts, minimization if not elimination of discretion in the recruitment process, and selection primarily on the basis of written examination, basis of performance in existing public board university examination with minimum weight to interview. So there is a need to safeguard the political neutrality, impartiality of civil servant, and this aspect should be included in code of ethics and code of conduct of public servant. Now commission would like to reiterate the recommendation made report on ethics in governance, fourth report, ERC prevention of corruption act 1988. So abuse of authority unduly favorable or harming someone, so obstructing the justice, it is essential so lay down the certain norms for recruitment in government to avoid the complaints, favoritism, nepotism and corruption and abuse of the power. So this principle could be included in the civil servants bill, which is title of bill. The bill may be called the civil service bill. Definition: civil service shall comprises of all personnel holding civil post. Civil servants value civil service and civil servants shall guided by the following values, and which is that values are like absolute integrity, impartiality, objectivity, dedication to the public service, empathy towards the weaker section, So integrity, it should be guided solely by the public interest and official decision making, and not by the any financial or other consideration. Impartiality is the including like procurement, recruitment, delivery of service, commitment for the fair, effective, impartial manner. Open accountability is for the willing to subject themselves. Appropriate scrutiny should be there. Devotion to the duty should be there. So towards the duty and responsibilities, an exemplary behavior of the civil servant is very important. Respects and courtesy, and at all times should behave in a manner that uphold the rich tradition of the civil servant. Recruitment and condition of service. It is well defined merit based procedure, wide publicity and open competition, minimization if not elimination, and selection of primarily on the basis of written examination. Okay, so new condition of the appointment. A civil servant not being a civil servant recruited or inducted for the short term appointment shall hold office 20 years for the initial appointments. The relationship between the civil servant and the government of India during the time holds shall also govern by the rules made by the regard. All public servants shall be subjected to two intensive review in the 14-year and 20 years. Their functions continue beyond 20 years, which depend on the outcome of the review. It should be expressly provided that all new recruitment shall be period of 20 years, and their continuation beyond 20 years would depends on outcomes of their review. Now, all appointments to the position in that pool shall be made on the recommendation of Central Civil Service Authority, which would go into the past performance and evaluate the future potential of the officers. The Central Civil Service Authority should recommend a panel of officers suitable for position of government, and government should choose an officer person from this panel. Now, fixation of tenure. All senior posts should have a specified tenure. The task and fixing tenure for various posts may also be assigned to this independent agency. Okay, so widening the pool of candidate for selection to senior position, candidates outside the government system should be allowed to compete for certain posts. Now, dismissal removal of the civil servants, Article 310 and 311 is the ethics in governance. No penalty of the removal and the dismissal should be imposed except by an authority which is least 3 level above the post which as government servant is holding. Other penalties are apart from dismissal removal may be imposed by authority which is at least 2 level above, and no penalties may be imposed unless inquiry is conducted and accused government servant has been given an opportunity to heard. So head of the organization should have power to lay down the detail of the inquiry procedure subject of the general guidelines which may be issued by the government. Now, a performance management system should be mandatory for the every organization. Okay, now constitution of Central Civil Service Authority. Central Civil Service Authority is by notification in official gazette constitute the body to know on the Central Civil Service Authority. It exercise the power conferred on and to perform the function assigned to the it. The Central Civil Service Authority shall be a 5-member body consisting of the chairperson and fourth member. The authority should have a full-time member. Secretary of the authority should be person of eminence in public life, and member of authority shall be appointed by the president on the recommendation of the committee consisting of prime minister and the leader of opposition. Okay, so the leader of single largest group in the opposition in the Lok Sabha shall be deemed to be leader of opposition. So, function of the Central Civil Service Authority is what? Review and adoption of adherence to the implementation of civil service value, assign domain to all office, all India service and central civil service on completion of 13-year service, formulating the norms and guidelines senior management level, evaluating the recommended name of officer for posting in the senior management level, and identifying the post at senior management level, and fixed tenure for the post of the senior management level in the government of India, and submit an annual report. So, creation and execution of agency in the government, and government should be authorized to create or reorganize some of the existing department into execution agency. Now, what are the problem of the civil service? See, problems are the first of all lack of the political will. Indian being a democratic country, the political leaders have a major role in ensuring the implementation of the reforms. The political leaders have to proactive and willing to bring change in the society. Lack of bureaucratic will. See, it is said that political purpose and bureaucratic dispose, in other words, the policy, are largely initiated and formulated through the efforts of the political leaders. So, responsibility of the administration to implement the reforms and changes. Both the political leaders and administrative have to work together to bring reforms and change in the society. Lack of vision. So, the any policy change or for that matter is reform should be envisaged from long term perspective. Informal asymmetry. So, but the unfortunate part is that the information is not available to everyone. The awareness amongst the common people about their rights and responsibilities is very low. Size and structure, like overstaffing and overburden exchequer, like structure should be streamlined and right size. The resources can thus be used judiciously. Resource constraints is there, so it managed efficiently. Corruption is also there, so corruption should not be there, and numerous schemes has been there, so we should reduce the schemes. An urgent need of the whole to curb the control the corruption. So this was to how to improve the capacity building, size, structure, efficiency, effectiveness, and accountability of the public service. So this all about the